Hello and welcome back to our news update, coming to you live from Warsaw. I'm Salia Strzemska. Ahead of Friday's highly anticipated meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska, the US president will join a Ukraine-focused video call with European leaders and Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Wednesday. They hope to persuade the US president not to sell out Ukraine in any potential peace deal. Joining me right now from Kyiv is our correspondent, Alex Kadier. Hello, Alex. Good to see you. So what kind of impact can European leaders actually have on these negotiations? And will the Anchorage meeting even count as negotiations, judging from the most recent US announcements?
Well, certainly the hope from European leaders is that Donald Trump does not give away the lot before the ink is dry. We've seen European diplomats speaking to the Reuters news agency saying there is a real risk at this meeting in Alaska that Donald Trump effectively sells out Ukraine, makes a deal about the future of Russia's invasion without the victim of the aggression, without Ukraine involved, and of course without those European powers for whom Ukraine is a crucial European security issue. That is the reason why Friedrich Merz, the German Chancellor, has assembled these European leaders in this video call, has invited President Zelenskyy to Berlin to attend this call. We understand there will be a meeting between the German Chancellor and the Ukrainian President first, then a video conference with the leaders of Germany, Finland, France, the United Kingdom, Italy, Poland and the European Union. That call will then have Donald Trump, the US President, and his Vice President, J.D. Vance, joining for these discussions. Of course, the objective from those European leaders who have been working hard to gain the ear of the US President, we saw that at the NATO summits just a couple months ago, trying to influence him in the approach to this meeting, to not give away too much, to not make concessions, to not make a deal with Vladimir Putin. Now, as you said in your introduction, there have been some expectation management from the White House. We've heard Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, saying that the meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin will be a listening exercise for the United States, effectively assessing whether or not Vladimir Putin has any appetite for peace. Now, of course, that here in Ukraine received with some bemusement. It is clear from the Ukrainian perspective that the Russian side has no desire for peace. We've seen the Ukrainian rescue services just in the last few minutes announcing that a man had died in a drone strike in the east of the country, another in the center of the country hit by shrapnel as well. So these attacks have dimmed down in Ukraine but continue from Russian forces, including targeting civilians. So it is difficult for the Ukrainians to understand why any US president would enter these negotiations trying to seek out a sentiment for peace from the Russian side. But nevertheless, those European leaders gathering, trying to collect their diplomatic efforts together to make an impact on the US president, to have his ear, hoping that he does not give the game away entirely in Alaska. Of course, the big question for Europe, for Ukraine, which we will only know in the next few hours, the next few days, the big question, will Donald Trump listen? Back to you.
Alex Kadier reporting from Kyiv. Thank you and stay safe. And of course, we'll be going back to Alex throughout the day for the latest updates. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk will also join a video conference between US President Donald Trump and European leaders. The news was confirmed by the Polish government's spokesperson, Adam Szłapka.
Szłapka said Poland firmly opposes any US-Russia talks on Ukraine that exclude Kyiv. He emphasized that Europe must act in solidarity and be directly involved in all discussions affecting the region. According to European Commission spokesperson Arianna Podesta, the initiative to talk with Trump was brought forward by German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The discussions will also include Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. The EU has also announced it will push for security guarantees for Ukraine, including Kyiv's ability to defend itself in the future.
Donald Trump's meeting with Vladimir Putin in Anchorage, Alaska on Friday will reportedly take place without any American Russia experts on hand to advise the president. The Financial Times reports that policymakers from the US National Security Council, who would normally brief the president on key issues, have been either sidelined or forced out due to recent government streamlining. Experts told FT that Putin is a skilled negotiator. The paper added that Trump has prioritized loyalty over experience, meaning he will have no Russia or Ukraine experts at his side to advise against being caught out by Putin. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says Russia wants Ukraine to cede the entire Donetsk region in exchange for pulling back from other areas. We spoke with Piotr Kaszówara, president of the UA Future Foundation, to understand why Donetsk holds such strategic importance for Russia.
Russia is offering and trading with Ukrainian territories for Ukrainian territories. They are offering some occupied territories for other occupied territories. So this is absolutely ridiculous situation. Donbas is very important for Russia because it's full of the underground resources, lithium, for example. There is an oil, there is an gold, there is a lot of ground resources, very rich, of coal, for example, of other metals. So this ground can help Russia to fight in future.
Ukraine's General Staff reported that over the last 24 hours, Russian and Ukrainian forces clashed 165 times. At least one person was killed in the Kherson region. The remains of a 61-year-old woman were found under the rubble of a residential building in the Kherson region after a Russian strike destroyed the structure. The local governor took to Telegram to report that 4 other people were wounded in the attack on the area. Images shared from Dnipropetrovsk show damaged and destroyed residential buildings, with emergency services working to extinguish fires and clear debris. Ukraine's Air Force reported that overnight, Moscow's forces used 49 kamikaze drones and 2 ballistic missiles. Ukrainian forces managed to shoot down both missiles and 32 of the drones. And now on a domestic note, Poland's economy is gaining momentum. New data shows GDP growth accelerated in the second quarter, driven by strong consumer spending and public investment. Poland's economy grew by 3.4% in the second quarter of 2025 compared to the same time last year, slightly above the 3.2% growth seen in the first quarter. Experts say this is a healthy sign, mostly thanks to people spending more money and the government investing in public projects. Some sectors, like factories and construction, showed little growth, and selling goods abroad may have actually hurt the numbers a bit. Still, economists expect the economy to remain strong this year and grow even further in 2026. China has sanctioned 2 European banks in retaliation for the bloc's 18 sanctions package against Russia. The package also targeted certain Chinese entities.
The EU's 18th sanction package on Russia targets the energy, banking, and military sectors. It was also the first package to include Chinese businesses on the restriction list, as Beijing has been aiding Moscow's war efforts. Chinese trade officials accuse the European Union of violating international law and disregarding Chinese interests. The 2 European banks affected by China's sanctions are from Lithuania. Tensions between Beijing and Vilnius have been on the rise, as the Eastern European country has been a vocal critic of China and even faced economic sanctions imposed from Beijing after attempting to tighten relations with Taiwan.
And now on a different topic, the United Kingdom, France and Germany say they are ready to reinstate sanctions on Iran if no agreement on Tehran's nuclear program is negotiated by the end of August. US President Donald Trump, who withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal during his first term, ordered attacks on the country's nuclear facilities in June. AFP reports that the 3 European powers, which remain parties to the agreement, declared in a letter to the UN their readiness to activate a so-called snapback mechanism to reintroduce sanctions. The agreement imposed significant restrictions on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for easing sanctions. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran has significantly exceeded the enriched uranium limits set out in the deal. In July, the 3 countries told Tehran that sanctions could be postponed if it resumed talks with Washington and cooperated with the IAEA. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un spoke by phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin about developing a closer ties. According to Reuters, Putin also briefed Kim on his upcoming meeting with Donald Trump.
As stated by media reports, Vladimir Putin expressed appreciation for North Korea's help in pushing Ukrainian forces out of the Kursk region. North Korea has dispatched over 10,000 troops to support Russia's campaign in western Russia during the war with Ukraine and is believed to be planning another deployment, according to South Korean intelligence assessments.
And now on a lighter note, who says sunbathing is just for humans? A video of 80 grey seals basking on the Polish beach in Mykoszewo has taken the internet by storm. Seeing such a large group of these mammals in one place on the Baltic coast is rare, making it all the more apparent why the video generated over 1 million views. Grey seals can be spotted several times a year in Mykoszewo, located at the mouth of the Vistula River in the Pomeranian region. Their favorite place to rest is the northeastern part of the Sobieszewska Island, or more precisely, the area near the beach in Mykoszewo. With a population of over 40,000, grey seals are one of the 3 most numerous seal species in the Baltic Sea. And with these lovely images, we conclude our morning news segment. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more.